Hey everybody, it is a beautiful evening. You can't see this, but the moon is over there. The light is on the mountains. Do you know my song, Light on the Mountains? It's on Open Road, and I sang, there's a light on the mountain. And that is Light on the Mountain. I don't know if you can see it if the camera's big enough, but it is getting chilly rather quickly, which it does here on the Rocky Mountains. I'm up at 9,000 feet. And once the sun goes down, it's a whole different ballgame. The wild animals come out, it gets colder, and your time outside is limited. But anyway, welcome to my channel. It's called Me in the Mountains. I'm Tim Janis. And today I want to talk about a really cool subject. And I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. But here's the question. Where are the poets? Where are they? I wonder. Did you know back in the 19th century, poetry was like one of the biggest mediums of communication. It was in the daily newspapers every day. It was everywhere. And since then, you don't see it as much. But I want to just put a footnote. I very much liked Celia Thaxter, who was a poet from the seacoast of New Hampshire. And I found her book in an old bookstore on the coast of New Hampshire, a place called Portsmouth. 100-year-old book with her poetry. And a lot of my titles were inspired by her poems, like Flowers in October and The Rushing Wings of Dawn. So the reason I brought up Where Are the Poets is because, sometimes in this day and age, where you have iPhones and so many other distractions, to read words and find that as your way of being inspired, like poetry, isn't always something you go to. I always see poetry as a way that a few words or something can speak volumes, like means so much more and take you to that place. So this is where I think the poets are today. And please leave in the comments where you think they are. Okay, so first of all, I think they're in the trees. I think the trees are poets. What can I say? That's what I think. So you got to say what you think. But, we just got back from the Big Sur. Okay, those trees are 1,000 years old. The redwoods are 1,000 years old. They've been standing in the same place. I can't sit here for more than 5 minutes. And I'm like, I'm going to move and do something else. But they stood there for 1,000 years. And to me, there's some message there, about, we always kind of joke that they're just like telling you to slow down or relax. And, when you're underneath the redwoods, they don't speak to you, maybe, but you get the sense that it's going to be okay and just to relax. And I don't know, sometimes with poetry, you can't grasp the whole meaning, but those trees, if you can get to see the redwoods or any trees, the trees around here, the spruces are a couple 100 years old, and a few of them that are really big, and they just, they're majestic. Yeah. So another poet to me is the ocean. I think probably a lot of you live by the ocean, or some of you do, or have experienced it. And of course, it has many moods. We lived on the coast of Maine, so we saw it through the winter, like in the coldest times of winter when it was like -6 degrees out. There's like steam that comes off the ocean, a little bit of ice that forms. It's really mysterious. In the summer, it's blue and like, you're warm and you jump in, and I always said it was like when I would jump in the ocean with the waves and everything, it would just be like this reawakening of my mind. You'd just be like, you'd be worried about things, and you jump in and just be like, oh, I feel so much better. Or if you dive underwater, it's like a whole nother world. And I feel like there's poetry in that, because to me, like, poetry is when you can't really sum it up to what it means. And yet when you're there in its presence, you're just feeling something bigger than yourself. Another, to me, poet are nature's rhythms and how it all works. I mean, I think, we're really enthusiastic about how our civilization works, computers and power and lights and our travel and all the things we do. But how does nature work? How do the chipmunks, store all their food and hibernate and come out perfectly okay in the spring and all excited to eat your flowers, how does, I know it's studied, and I know, there's written word about it, but the way nature works, the rhythm of it is, to me, I think it's something to open our eyes to and just be enamored by. Look at that mountain. I mean, maybe you can only see part of it, but that mountain is just gigantic. When you see those trees over there, they're like 4 or 5 miles away, and it's just there every day for thousands of years. Wow, to me that's poetry. Okay, another one I think many of us have are the stars. Holy, wow, stars. I mean, have you ever been in a place where there's no lights and you can really see the stars? And I mean, that's amazing. Of course, I don't know, I've not been to the stars, but I can't speak too much except to say, I love seeing the falling stars and the moon. The moon will rise there and it'll go behind that mountain over there at night, and it's just like phenomenal how large the universe is. And the last one I think of the poets is love. It's the most important thing, period. And I think all of us have felt it, and all of us need it, and it is what makes everything work. So can't speak more about that. I might start crying, but I write songs about it, and I think telling each other that you love, them, one another, that we love them, and spreading as much as we can of love is important. Okay, well, I want to say love to you guys. Leave your comments in the comments. Leave your message in the comments. Tell me who the poets are to you in your world. And subscribe, and I'll see you in the next message. Okay, be in the mountains. Love you guys. Peace.